Oh, ladies and gentlemen, and ladies, welcome. Welcome to the live stream. We are live. I am your host. They like to call me around these parts, unofficially IMO. And what does that stand for? What does that stand for? You might ask. Yes, it stands for, in my opinion, and I have a lot of opinions on a lot of different things on this channel. And we're going to talk about a couple different things here today. And I just figured, you know what? It's been a hot minute since we have went live or posted anything on this channel. And I've been slacking. Yeah, I have. I'll be the first to admit I've been slacking a little bit. That is 100% my fault. It's no one else to blame but me. You know, when you have work and you have responsibilities outside of YouTube, it makes it kind of hard to get back into the groove of things. But I was just sitting there thinking to myself, I was like, man, there is just so much chaos and craziness going on in the world right now. I can't possibly allow another day to go by without going live and talking about it. I had to do it. I definitely had to do it. So, yes, we are live. And, if you guys have not already, do me a huge favor. Just do me one big, huge favor. Make sure. Well, let me make sure I'm live. Oh, I am. Okay. Yes, we're live. All right. Yes. Live, large, and in charge. I always like to say that. If you guys haven't already, do me a huge favor. Like the video, subscribe to the channel. If you haven't yet already, we are trying to approach 500 subscribers to help grow this channel and get it to where it needs to be. So if you haven't done that already, I appreciate your support and thank you so much for doing that. Man, it has been a little bit of a crazy last couple weeks, hasn't it? It has been a very, very chaotic last, I'd say what, two and a half weeks. Let me fix this camera here. There we go. We got it. Oh, one of the things that on the last live stream that I did, somebody was like, "Hey, your American flag has more than, was it 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 stars?" Somebody said it looked like I think it had 8 points on it, and I'm like, ooh, that's not supposed to have 8. Let me fix that. So I almost forgot to fix it before we went live. I was like, ooh, I gotta fix that flag, man. I gotta fix that flag. I can't be having this flag looking the way it does with these really messed up looking stars. So we fixed that. We're good to go. Oh, look who's here, guys. Look. Oh, the Dawn's in the house. Yep. You're the first one in the chat here today, too. First one. You should just start, if you're the first one in the chat, you should just start saying first. Just say first. I'm first. Yeah. First one in the chat. Yes. Oh, it was 6. Oh, what? It was a pentagram. It was a 6-pointed star. That's what it was. I was like, yeah, you're right. There was 6 on there. So we fixed it though. We're good to go. The flag is, she's flying. She's good to go now. And we fixed it. Good eye too. Definitely a good eye on that. Good eye. Okay, you're banned. You are banned. Man, we're off to here we go. I'm not even going to comment. It's already, man. Like we get people coming in here and saying dumb shit, man. It's dumb shit. You get reported too at the same time. It's like, why do you want to be stupid? Just listen. In the world of content creation and in a world of people who you like to think is good and decent, and I like to think people are good and decent in this world. I really do. I really do. And then you come across fucking retards like that, and you're just like, fuck, man. Like, why do people like that have to be saying the dumbest shit? Why? Because I have an American flag behind me? Get fucked. Yeah, there's no need to comment. Yeah. Keep scrolling, man. Keep doing your doom scrolling. Keep it on. Keep it on. Yeah. But you got to deal with people like that. That's the only unfortunate thing about being a content creator, being a live streamer, being just putting yourself out there like that. You come across idiots like that, man. It's unfortunate because the world is full of fucking dumbasses like that. It's really quite sad, to be honest with you. It really is. Another idiot who thinks he's a professional commentator. I am. You don't fucking know me. You don't know me. I don't know you. Keep it moving. Keep it moving. I am a professional commentator. Better than you. Since you like to judge people, I'm better than you. Keep it on. Keep it on. And then you got the keyboard warriors out there. You got the Kamala Harris supporters that come in here. And I'm fine with that. I'm okay with that. You guys can come in. Come on, but if you say some really fucked up shit, I'll ban you, and then you'll get reported. But other than that, it takes a lot for me to get really pissed off. It really does. So if you want to come in and say whatever you want to say, you're more than welcome to do that. Come on in. Come on in. I am a professional commentator. Been doing this for, what is it, almost 3 years now? So I'd say I've been around the ringer. I have opinions on whatever. I could talk all day, man. I can stream for 12 plus hours. No problem. No problem. I can sit here and talk and talk and talk. Yeah, we love everybody. I guess haters love to come in and later. Yeah, the what do you call it? The freaks come out at night. That's true. That is 100% true. Everything crazy and chaotic goes down at nighttime after sunset. That is 100% true. That is 100% true. Ladies and gentlemen, the reason why we are live here tonight, if you have been living under a rock for the last since February 28th, I believe, and that's when the conflict in Iran started. I'll go ahead and pause the music here for a second. Usually I like to keep the music playing when I'm just kind of shooting a breeze with you guys, but this is kind of serious. Again, kind of a serious topic here. So since February 28th of this year, 2026, everybody knows the conflict in Iran has started, and we are backing Israel, supporting them in their efforts to eradicate evil from this world. And that's what we've been doing for the better half of 2 to 3 weeks now. And Leonard, what is happening, Leonard? Appreciate you being here, my man. Also too, as well, if you haven't already, please do me a huge favor, subscribe to the channel. Give me a thumbs up, man. Just give me a thumbs up. If you don't want to subscribe, at least leave me a thumbs up. It goes a very long way when it comes to the YouTube algorithm. So if you give the YouTube channel a thumbs up, at least the live stream, that pushes our content out there to other folks. Going back to the war in Iran, and yes, it is something that I am okay with in terms of getting rid of a major problem. And Iran is a major problem. So I'm okay with getting rid of a terrorist regime like Iran, getting rid of all the leaders, getting rid of all the bad people that shouldn't be in there. I don't think anybody has any, any problems with getting rid of things that are terrible for the world. evil things and just things that are just bad. So I think people want the world to be a safer place. And if you don't, I question you as a human being. And I think you should reevaluate yourself. But no sane person is going to sit there and say, no, I disagree. I think evil should exist. Like, no, that's just not the case. Like, we want bad people to not be here. And that's what's happening in Iran. We're taking bad people and we're getting rid of them and making the world a better place. Right. But at the same time, there are things that are happening that is causing the country to having to pay a little bit more for some things during the meantime. And what am I meaning by paying more for things? I'm talking about the price of gas. So if you guys are, driving a car on a daily basis, which I'd imagine you are, everybody knows that right now gas prices are through the damn roof right now. This is not making anyone safer. How so? How so does that not make anybody safer? By getting rid of terrorists? Because that's what we're doing. We're getting rid of a terrorist regime. So that does make the world a safer place. When you don't have people like that in charge of a country twice the size of Texas, and that's how big Iran is twice the size of Texas. It's a very large country. When you don't have bad people running that place, things tend to be a little bit better. Now, I'm not saying it's going to be a perfect outcome because nothing ever truly is, but that's the whole reason of going in there and getting rid of those people, because we just want to make the world a better place, a safer place. But at the same time, what it's doing is it's causing a lot of issues with gas prices. And right now, gas prices, I don't know how much is gas in your neck of the woods? I know over where I'm at, gas is roughly $4.70 or so per gallon. So why is gas going up? And why is this an issue? So that's what I really want to talk about here today. We are paying more for gas right now, but it'll get better. It will over time. It will over time. I agree. It's not going to get better anytime soon. As far as lowering the price of gas, and I'm going to be honest with you guys, I am not a fan of this. I think it's something that should have been a little bit more planned out in terms of going in there and doing what we're doing with Israel and Iran. I think it should have been a little bit more planned out in terms of what's this going to do to affecting gas prices. And they may have known that before we went in, but I did not know that gas was going to shoot through the roof as much as it did. I knew like it was going to kind of go up a little bit, but over $4 a gallon, I thought we were past that. And then we just shot right back up over $4 a gallon. So I am not a fan of that. I think that's a bunch of bullshit. But at the same time, it's not something that's going to be permanent. And I'm okay with that. I just hate that gas is as expensive as it is, especially if you guys drive a diesel truck. I mean, I used to drive a Ford F-250 diesel, with a 10-inch lift on it. And I hated putting gas in that thing. And that was when diesel fuel was like, I think it was like diesel was like $4 a gallon, right around between $3-4 a gallon when we had it. And I hated putting diesel in that thing. I hated it. It was expensive. And that was then. And now for people that are driving diesel trucks, holy cow, man, you guys are paying a fortune right now, a straight up fucking fortune for fuel. I feel your pain. I really do. And we won't have to worry about them coming here to the U.S. That's another issue in itself. Yes, we're trying to eliminate that threat. And that threat is a terrorist regime. And not just in Iran. I mean, there's terrorists all over the world. It's not just in the Middle East. They're everywhere. Hamas supporters, all ISIS supporters, these people that are these pop-up terrorist attacks that might happen throughout the world. And, and when you think about all the things that are going on, especially with Hamas and things like that, where does it all really come back to? It comes back to Iran, because Iran is like a sponsored, participant, if you will. And it's like bought and paid for by Iran, a lot of this stuff. And I think October 7th, I don't know the specific details, but October 7th, what happened, that terrorist attack that happened in Israel. I think Iran was one of the main corporates of funding that terrorist attack. So, and that's what people don't want to, we don't want that. We don't want that. That's not something that we want to have to put up with. You know what I mean? And nobody should have to worry about that ever happening again. So what's the best way to do that is to eliminate the threat anywhere that you can. Problem with, corporates funding that, corporates of funding that terrorism. Between my husband and my Chevys, we pay $800 a month for gas. Holy cow! What are you driving? It's worth it to work in the city and drive home to the country with no HOA, noise, and light pollutions. Well, I think that's living in the country is like the best thing in the world. You don't have to worry about the city and any of that stuff, right? So we know what that's like. We used to live on a farm, and living in the city was, compared to living in the country is like, it's night and day. I mean, which one are you going to pick? Well, yeah, obviously the country. But what in the hell are you driving? That is insane. $800 a month. What flag does the United States of America have? What the hell? What are you talking about? How many stars does America fly? Why are you asking these questions? Ford GMC V6 engine. Okay. Ford GMC V6 engine. How many stars does the American flag have? Why? If you want me to count how many stars we have on the American flag, technically it's 50, but I think we were trying to shoot for 51 there for a while, right? Canada? I think we were trying to shoot for Canada there for a minute. 51, maybe? Last time I checked, it was 50. You tell me how many are on the flag. You tell me. You let me know. You go first. I'll let you know if you're right or not. Some questions are rhetorical. We both drive 40 miles one way to work daily. So you're driving 80 miles round trip. Both of you. Holy cow. That is insane. That is insane. You ever think about moving closer to work? 52? Where are you getting the other two? You talking about Cuba? And Canada giving us to 52. Anyway. Okay. Yeah. It's all right. Yeah. All right. Yeah. So thank you for the history lesson there, man. Appreciate it. I want to talk to you guys about why you just the whole thing with gas prices and everything, and you keep hearing the same thing over and over again, right? You keep hearing it's just a temporary fix. It's a short-term fix for, how do they say it? A temporary fix for a short-term problem or something like that. And you hear it all over the place. So one of the things that is causing gas prices to go up as high as it is because of the Strait of Hormuz. Like, how many people understand how the Strait of Hormuz works? How many people hear about the Strait of Hormuz and all the craziness that's going down there? Because people have to understand that the Strait of Hormuz is where a large supply of the world's oil and gas comes through. And it's being threatened by Iran right now. And if Iran is threatening the oil tanker ships that are carrying all this oil over that way, and when they're threatening these ships don't go anywhere. they stay parked out in the ocean. And if they stay parked out in the ocean, well, we can't get product to where it needs to go. So what happens? The price goes up, and insurance goes up on those boats too, because they have to be insured in order to travel, right? So these boats that are being threatened in a time of conflict over there, now the cost of insurance, either these boats can't get insured or it goes through the roof, and that causes prices to go up too. So the Strait of Hormuz is one of the most critical. Hold on, let me see. Am I recording? I'm going to make a video out of this too, guys. I'm going to make a video out of this. Nice to love a ranch away from people and traffic. That is the best. That is the best. Not having to worry about people living out in the country. It's the best. It's the best part about living in America, because you could do shit like that. I love it. And being on a farm, man, it's like nothing else. It really is. It's like the best thing ever. Living out in the country with farm animals and goats and chickens, and having enough land to just be away from everybody. I mean, it's like the best shit ever. It really is. So let's talk a little bit more about the Strait of Hormuz. The Strait of Hormuz is one of the most critical maritime checkpoints on the planet. It's a narrow waterway, and it's a little as 21 miles or so wide at its narrowest, and with shipping lanes only about 2 miles each way, somewhere give or take around that, right around in there. And it's connecting the Persian Gulf to the Gulf of Oman and the open Arabian Sea. It's the primary exit. It's the primary exit route for oil and natural gas exports from major producers like Saudi Arabia. That's another big one. Iraq, Kuwait, Qatar, Iran, countries like that, right? So why does it matter so much? So in a normal, working Strait of Hormuz, pre-2026 conflict in Iran with this war going on, roughly 20 million barrels per day of crude oil and oil product flows through it every single day. And that's about 20 to roughly 25% of the world's total seaborne oil trade, and around 20% of the global oil consumption. It also carries about 20% or so of the world's liquefied natural gas. How many people have natural gas in their homes? And mostly from Qatar, I think, is where some of that stuff is coming from. And around 80 to 90%, I believe, of that oil heads to countries like Asia, China, India, Japan, South Korea, making those economies especially vulnerable too, because it's not like the United States, because I can't speak for those countries. I don't know if they have oil reserves like we do. We have this strategic oil reserve here, which I think Biden ran dry at one point. It was practically empty. I think we've restocked that quite a bit. So in a time of conflict, in a time of, potentially running low on stuff like that, I'm pretty sure America, keeping our homeland, flowing, I'm pretty sure we're good to go there. But again, it's just temporary. So, and I don't even think we'd have to crack into anything like that from our end. And, any serious disruption here isn't just a regional headache like you're seeing now. It's a global energy shock because there's very limited alternatives. So bypass pipelines exist, in countries like Saudi Arabia, East and West Pipeline, or some of these other countries have things like that in place, but they can only handle a fraction. Maybe I'd say probably around 3.5 to 5.5, 3.5 to 5.5% of what they might need, somewhere around in there. I'm not really too sure, at best. Right. And most Gulf oil has nowhere else to go without the Strait. So without the Strait of Hormuz, there's nowhere for it to go. It's just there, and it has to be carried out by ships, right? So what's happening there right now as far as March of 2026 of this month amid the conflict with Iran? Since the U.S.-Israel strikes on Iran began at the end of February, I believe it was February 28th is when all this stuff went down. When we took out the supreme leader of Iran, and with multiple attacks with the drones and projectiles and missiles and things like that on commercial vessels, at least, there's been casualties, to say the least, especially American casualties, with our fallen service members that were, tragically, their lives were taken from us, with those military service members there as well. So there has been some, some not so good outcomes for us, as a country, for our military. Tanker traffic over there has plummeted, from, I think it was like 150 to like 153 vessels per day, pre-war, to now a near halt practically, with those vessels down to like 70 to 90%, initially somewhere around in there, then to a pretty much trickle down to zero, for 0 days. Like there's near zero of any movement coming out of the Strait of Hormuz. So there's many ships that are anchored outside the strait, rerouting around Africa and adding weeks and massive costs, or suspending operations entirely. So you have boats that are having to detour and go around and go like the long way around, out of the way of Iran, because Iran is just threatening these boats and stuff that are coming through with all this product. And a lot of these companies don't want to have to deal with that. Right. So that is an issue in itself, for sure. So when you think about this, who has any sort of like, who's in the path of all this stuff, right? Who has direct paths, or any kind of like impact on the world? And the main direct impact, not just on products and goods, but oil and gas. That's the main thing, is oil and gas. So the crude, the Brent crude oil, or just crude oil in general, spiked all over the place. Briefly, nearly, it's nearing, what is it? Like maybe, I think it was like $100 a barrel up until like 120 or even $126 a barrel. I think it's down today. I think it's below $100. But at the, just a couple of days ago, it spiked over $100. And that's when just the shit hit the fan with high gas prices. That happened pretty early on within the crisis in Iran there. Now hovering around, like I said, $92 to $100 a barrel. But when the conflict first started, barrels of oil like shot over $100 a barrel, $100 to $100+ a barrel. And that's when you saw gas prices just through the roof. Right. So that's a big jump. It's like 30 to 40% jump in gas price because of the cost of crude oil. So when you look at it from gasoline and energy prices, the U.S. gas has risen sharply, which is a national average above, significantly contributing to your $4+ at the pump, is because of what's happening right now. So you have refined products like jet fuel, diesel, are even worse. Globally, inflation risk rise as energy costs feed into everything, shipping, food, manufacturing. It feels like COVID all over again. It really does. But you also look at it from a broader economy too. Asia faces, when you look at it from a global aspect, Asia faces blackouts and coal shifts. That's not good for Asia. Fertilizer, metals, and other commodities are disrupted as far as that goes too, because all that stuff's sitting on a ship. Fertilizer and things like that. People forget, like, we need fertilizer to help grow crops and stuff, and we get a lot of fertilizer from that part of the world. And if it's sitting on the ship and parked in the Strait of Hormuz, it's got nowhere to go. So what do? You hike the price up because that stuff's just kind of chilling on a boat and it's got nowhere else to go. So if it's prolonged, which I really hope it's not, because that means it's not good for our economy. The longer this goes on. So if it's prolonged, it's not just an oil shock, if you will, that we're seeing in price hikes. It becomes full inflation and growth shock as well. So you'll start to see the cost of inflation going up and causing the cost of goods to go up with it. It's going to feel like almost like COVID all over again. And that's just not good. It's definitely not good. The response measure, though, if you look at it and as in terms of how we're responding to this, the IEA released a record 400 million, I think it's like 400 million barrels from the strategic oil reserve, more than double any prior release, as like a bridge, so to say, to buy some time. I think that's what they were talking about. I'm pretty sure that that's around 400 million barrels if they did do that, somewhere around in that vicinity. But if the Strait of Hormuz, and again, that's a strategic oil reserve, that doesn't mean it's, that's a temporary thing there. It's just for emergencies, if you will. But if the strait stays mostly shut, the Strait of Hormuz, upward pressure on oil prices could go even higher because of it. So, when you look at it in that sense, in short, if you take everything that we just kind of went over there, the Strait of Hormuz isn't fully closed, and it might feel like it is, but it's not. It's like a door that's kind of just like slammed shut, if you will. That's kind of how it feels. It's more like a war zone where passage is extremely risky and massively reduced. Iran uses it as a leverage to impose economic pain on the world and obviously its enemies. Guess who their number one enemy is right now? Israel. But we're right there. We're number two. And during this whole entire conflict. So as long as attacks and threats continue, which they probably will I'm hoping it's only just for like a couple more weeks, you can definitely expect volatile energy markets, higher cost at the pump, and that's what we're seeing now. And also too, guys, you're going to see ripple effects all over the place. It's not just in gas. You're going to see it trickle down in other parts of the economy. So a quick resolution could ease it fast, but a drawn out one keeps tension on it. So the longer this continues to go on, in my opinion, and this is all in my opinion, mind you, this is not factual stuff. This is just me talking out loud about what's happening and what I'm seeing. And this, in my opinion, if this continues to go on even longer, what does that look like? You got the midterms coming up this year. You got Republicans and Democrats at each other's throats already. The one thing that's going to eventually happen if this goes on, that when people have to pay more for shit, they don't like it. Whatever your political ideology is, Democrat, Republican, independent, whatever you want to call yourself, nobody wants to pay more for stuff. They really don't. They want to pay less. The less cost, the better. The less government in people's lives, the better. The less everything is, the easier things are and the less expensive things are, the happier we are as a country, and the more we thrive as a country, because we spend more, right? Because things are cheaper. But if things continue to tick up in price and cost more, Housing feels like it's never going to come down. That's been expensive for years. Like interest rates, oil and gas, the cost of goods overall, just of everything. If that continues to tick up, I'm just talking like just gas prices in general. If gas prices don't come down, I'm not talking about anything else right now. Let's just talk about gas prices. If gas prices don't come down soon, like before summer, what that's going to end up doing, in my opinion, that's going to cause people to go the other way. Everybody's going to forget what it was like during 2020, 2021, 2022. Remember when everything just felt like it was collapsing, as it felt like the cost of everything was like quadruple the amount. And it was like cost of like food at the grocery store, like eggs were like $9 or $10 a carton, and it felt like meat was like through the roof, and it was like everything was like super expensive, and that people did not like that. People don't like paying more for stuff, especially when things are double, triple the price. That's going to cause people to change their opinion of what they used to think before all this conflict started in Iran. They're going to vote the other way. They're going to vote Democrat. And then if Republicans that are on the fence about being between independent and a Republican or a Democrat, whatever, come midterm elections, you got people that are running for office are going to beat out those Republicans and take those House seats or Senate seats. And then what that'll do is that'll cause another impeachment. Let's face it. If Republicans lose the House and Senate because they lose the midterms, they're going to impeach Donald Trump, and it's probably going to go through, most likely, because they just hate that man, and nobody ever has an excuse as to like nobody has a good reason of why they hate Donald Trump. I think that's hilarious. But they'll probably impeach him again for the third time. You'll never see this again. You'll never see this again. This is insane. They'll probably impeach him again for a third time, and it will probably push through this time around. I wouldn't doubt it, man. I really wouldn't doubt it. And people think by doing that, by voting the other way, people have short memories too. People have really short memories. People forget what it was like under Democratic rule for the last 4 years before Trump won the last election. You guys remember what that was like? Inflation. And I know it was Biden's bidding of the decisions that he was making that caused inflation to go through the roof. But people forget what that was like. And like, don't let that, I know I'm pissed too. I hate paying for stuff that costs double, triple. I hate paying these gas prices. I can't stand it. I think it's like the worst thing ever. Nobody wants to pay more for stuff. But if it's something that, because I trust the process. And if this is going to end like they say it is, and I hope that it does, then that means things will come back down. Okay? That's when things come back down. But I'm telling you right now, and I can go either way with things. I'm not 100% pro-Republican all the way, all the time. I still have my opinion on things, and this administration does some shit that I question sometimes. I'm like, what do you do? What was that? But I could tell you that if people continue to have to pay more for something, Republicans are going to lose the House. And I hope that's not the case. But if this continues to just trickle on into summer, and then all of a sudden summer comes, and now we're midsummer, and this is still, it'll be over soon, and it's not. And then fall rolls around, like, forget it. You guys are going to lose the House. It's done. People have zero patience for stuff. We already, as humans, we have short attention spans. and we want everything right now. And when we don't get it right now, we get pissed off and we try to figure out how to fix it ourselves. And if people think voting the other way is going to fix their problems, which it never does, it never fixes your problem. Don't ever wait around for government to fix your life, because guess what? You're going to keep waiting. Probably until you die. Government is not going to fix your life. Ever. And people always wait around for government to come in and swoop in and be the hero and help them fix their lives. It's never going to happen. Don't ever rely on the government to help you with nothing, period, regardless of who's president, regardless of who's in charge. It's never going to work. Donald Trump's not going to fix your life. He's just not. He's not going to fix your life. He's not going to make things better for you. You are in charge of that, right? I'm in charge of my life. You're in charge of yours. You can make decisions to better yourselves. And that's that. But the reason why shit never seems like to become better in the long term is because people vote the other way all the time. They think if they vote Democrat, things will get better. And then when shit goes south, they turn around and vote back Republican. And then when people think Republicans are screwing up, they get mad and they vote the other way. They vote Democrat again. So it's like a never ending cycle of a balancing act. Once things start to improve in one area because this party's in charge and overall things do improve, but you have another party over here that doesn't like it. And then all of a sudden they vote the other way and then it shifts the balance, you see? And then when that happens, things just nothing equals out. All that happens is shit gets more expensive and people become more divided. That's it. Nothing ever fully gets fixed 100%. Don't get it mistaken, because if I say I'm a Republican, that just means I'm just a Republican. I look at the obvious and I vote with what I see. And if I see shit going south, that doesn't mean I'm going to switch up my party and vote Democrat. Well, because no, I've seen what Democrats are doing right now and it blows my mind, right? So I don't want to go back to what things were over the last 4 years. Oh, hell no. That was like, that was a rough time for our country. It just seemed like things were going, again, you could disagree with me all you want, but things just felt like they were going south. And I got friends of mine right now that will tell you that when the last administration was in office, they're business owners, right? And they'll tell you, all I'm going to tell you, I got a buddy that told me, he always tells me this all the time. He's like, all I'm going to say is when Biden was in office, my business struggled. I had problems financially. I had trouble getting bids for my job. I had issues. Didn't have enough issues where he had to close up shop, but he's just like, things were tougher for me. And then he's like, once Trump got in there, my business started booming again. So I started making more money. I started getting more clients, the economy looked better. Things got better for me. And he's like, that's all I'm going to say. He's like, if my business is doing good because of who's in office, who do you think I'm going to vote for? Right. And that goes for anybody. So the whole thing about this with gas prices going up and things, I hate it too, just like everybody else. I think it's bogus and this shit needs to end fast, real fast, because nobody wants to pay $4.70 a gallon for gas. Nobody wants y'all in the chat here. You said you spend $800 a month in gas. That's going to really piss you off come midsummer when it's still not fixed. If God help us, if that's the case, I hope not. But that's going to make you mad. And you're going to think about that if you go to the voter box and you're going to be like, I don't like that. I'm going to vote Democrat. I'm just going to vote because people feel like that's going to fix their problem. No, It's just not. In my opinion, it creates another problem, a whole nother set of issues. And it just adds on to the craziness, right? So, to be honest with you, I put faith in this administration. I'm not going to be quick to judge them just yet. Fully, yeah, I'm upset. I don't like, no, everybody's upset. I don't care who you are. Nobody likes paying more for shit. For energy. Your Tesla drivers out there, God bless you. Tesla electric vehicle drivers out there, you're probably laughing right now, and rightfully so. You know, times where gas is through the roof and you're not having to get gas. I get it. I'm happy for you. Don't get me wrong. I'm a fan of Tesla. We like Teslas. They're just, come talk to me when your battery dies and you need to spend $25,000 for a new battery. Then let me know if you're still a fan of electric vehicles, because that's about what they run. Anyway, pros and cons to everything, guys. Yeah, it's all common sense. It really is. It's all common sense, right? So when, pick your poison. You want to drive a gas guzzling vehicle or just a gas vehicle and pay high gas prices sometimes and have all the maintenance costs and all these things and whatever? Or do you want to drive an electric vehicle, never get gas again, but in about 7 years, if you plan on keeping that car long term, 7 to 10 years, that battery is like a cell phone battery. Eventually it dies and it won't hold a charge. And then you need a new battery, and a new battery for a brand new Tesla or for a Tesla is like $20,000 to $30,000, depending upon what type of car you're driving, right? That's like the engine of the car. But don't get it mistaken. Tesla drivers and electric vehicle drivers right now are sitting there laughing their asses off right now. And I'm laughing with you, man, because we're the ones paying more for shit. You're not. Unless your electric bill goes up, which it could, and it may, and it looks like it will, then it kind of balances itself out, right? Kind of balances itself out. So, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know. It they always say the same thing. It's driving me nuts. A short-term fix or a long-term, what the hell did they say? A short-term fix for a short-term problem. All the mainstream media news channels that are pro-Republican are saying it. Democrats are thinking it's the end of the world. And all that stuff. They all say the same shit. Mainstream legacy media always says the same shit. They always copy each other and say the same stuff all the time. It's like, could you guys like, come up with your own shit, come up with your own stuff. In terms of, if somebody's saying the same phrases all the time, don't be like them. That's boring. Say something else. You know what I mean? Say something else. What fuels the electrical grids? Oil and gas. Oil and gas. Am I right? Oil and gas. I think that's what fuels the electrical grids. It's still fossil fuels. Let's just say that. Coal, fossil fuels. Those big wind turbines that you see spinning out in Oklahoma and Texas. Like the worst thing for the environment ever. Those big wind turbines. All the environmentalists are like, pro wind turbines. These are great. Environmental friendly wind turbines. Yeah. If you get close enough, you can look up at them and you can see the oil leaking out of them. If you can see the oil that is still inside the main gears to lubricate those gears so they don't burn out. It's all oil. And if we've seen documentaries where people fly these drones close to it and then you see the oil just leaking out of the top of it. I'm like, these environmentalists, man. I mean, come on. It's crazy. Yeah, there's oil in those. Yeah, coal. Yeah, coal. The one thing that these environmentalists want to get rid of. It's like, you better sit there and do your research and then come back to me in about a day or so, and you let me know how much shit in your life is ran by coal. I don't know, everything. Your house, your electric, your everything, your car. Like, it's like everything is ran by coal, oil and gas and coal. Like, how do you think you heat your house in the wintertime? If it's all electric, it's ran through coal. How do you, people that have natural gas to heat their homes, but they call themselves environmentalists? Well, then stop using it. Stop using it then. That's how you get your point across. How many environmentalists out there? Now I'm getting off topic. I just wanted to talk about gas prices. How many people out there right now are so blinded by their own ideology that they can't see the obvious? Like, they sit there and they'll tell you, I am for all electric. I am against gas, oil, coal. You get these environmentalists that go and sit there, they glue their hands on the paintings inside the museums and shit. You get those people there. And it's like, it's like those dummies that glue their hands to the paintings and stuff. It's like, how did you get here today? Did you take a bus to come downtown to the museum? You know, like that used coal and gas to get you here. You took it, right? You're a hypocrite. I can't stand, I am a huge fan of Leonardo DiCaprio. I love him as an actor. I think he's one of the best actors of our time. But when he sits there and goes off about environmentalists this and green energy that, and he talks about the environment, and trust me, everybody wants clean water. Everybody wants a cleaner atmosphere, a cleaner, good oxygen that's not poisoned by so-called chemtrails in the air, all this stuff that gets released by airplanes and all this other shit, right? People want clean air, clean water. You know, everybody wants that. I don't care who you are. Everybody wants that. But when you sit there and you push and about how bad it is, and then you turn around and you get on your private jet, no one's going to take you serious. I'm sorry. All these actors and stuff like that sit there and cry wolf over the environment. Like, these are the same dumbasses that will get on a private jet that puts out more fossil fuels in the air than a commercial jetliner. Will get on their jets and fly across the country. Al Gore. Fly over to Europe to like those conferences, those world conferences for energy and environment stuff or whatever he goes to. And he talks about all the things about, you know, how the world should have ended 25 years ago, 60 years ago. And we're on our way to just like destroying the ozone layer, and we're going to die in 10 years. You know, when he goes on those things and he goes off on a tantrum about stuff like that, he just gets back in his $25 million jet and he travels someplace else that's ran off fossil fuels. Like, these are the biggest hypocrites in the world, man. Like just stop talking, man. I'd rather, you know what? I would not have a problem with these people and their environmentalists, like pro green energy stuff. If they would come out and say, listen, guys, I know what I'm about to tell you is not going to make any sense because I got here on a private jet. I know. I'm just trying to bring awareness to it. I know I drive a $275,000 Ferrari that runs off gas and oil and all this stuff, right? I know that. I just want to be able to hopefully make a difference to get us to go in the right direction. And eventually we will. At some point, we're not going to need oil and gas. But fuck, that's not going to be for what? I'd say at least 250 years. You know what I mean? The whole entire world runs off fossil fuels. And not everybody on the planet is going to be ready to convert over to fossil fuels. You remember when all that shit was going down under Biden? He wanted to, they were trying to push for electric vehicles. I think California's still pushing for that shit. And, you know, they were trying to get these like companies to convert to electric in the next like 10 or 20 years or something crazy. And they all came out and some of them were trying to do it. And I think Ford was like trying to push for it. And then they came out and said, I think Ford came out and said, we're going to hold off on that. Yeah, we can't do that. We're losing money. People don't want it. People don't want it. They didn't. They really didn't. So Tesla drivers still use gas and coal. Yeah, they do. Tesla drivers, if you're driving a Tesla or any vehicle with four wheels and a motor or even an electric battery, there's still oil in those cars. You need brake fluid to stop the car. You need brake fluid unless they don't have it. And I don't know much about the electric vehicles as far as this technology goes, but I'm pretty sure you still need brake fluid to help compress the brakes so you can stop. I'm pretty sure they still have to do that. I'm pretty sure. So yes, they're still driving around with oil in their car. And also, if you're driving around the Cybertruck, you probably have gear fluid in your it's on the tip of my tongue in the back because if it's full wheel drive, I don't know. I don't know. Gear oil in the back. I'm pretty sure they do. If they don't, then I'm not really 100% for certain on that. But I do know, like, if you're trying to stop your car, and I don't know, can we look that up? I'm pretty sure Tesla drivers still have brake fluid in their car to compress their brakes so they stop. You know what I mean? 40 miles of turbine graveyard in Texas, more in Wyoming, Ohio, and Iowa. Yes, I think that turns into scrap metal, which is terrible. Yes. Transmission. It's a gearbox in the back for four wheel drive. If the Cybertruck has it, well, let's find out. Let's find out. Let's turn some music on while we're checking it out here. Let's see. And again, guys, I'm not 100% certain on this. I just can't. If they're not using it, I would love to know what exactly they're using. Does a Tesla car have oil in it? Does a Tesla car have oil in it? Okay. Here we go. Oh, hell, you can't see it if you're on the shorts. Let's just move this over here. That's a little better. Yes, Tesla cars have oil, but not engine oil. Well, yeah, duh. They do not need oil changes for an engine. Instead, Tesla cars use a small amount of specialty oil, typically ATF, which is, I think, is automatic transmission fluid, to lubricate the gearbox. That's why I was telling you the gearbox in the back of a Cybertrucks and stuff. That's what I'm talking about. There's gears back there that turn, and that keeps the gears lubricated, kind of like the wind turbines. Same thing. Tesla cars have a small amount of specialty ATF, lubricate the gearbox. Differential, yeah, the rear diff. It's the rear differential or front differential for four-wheel drives. and sometimes cool the electric motor. These units are generally sealed and designed for long term without regular service. So just because you don't have to change oil, obviously something has got to keep those gears lubricated when you're going down the road, and that's oil. I'm heading to bed. Subscribe. Hey, I appreciate that. I appreciate that, Basil. Thank you. Thank you. Have a great night. I appreciate you being here. Thank you. And you got trolls coming in there saying the stuff that they say. I block them. I just block them off the channel. You're blocked. Yep. Good night, everybody. Well, Basil. Good night, Basil. Appreciate you being here. I appreciate you. But yes, Tesla cars still need oil. Other fluids. Tesla still use other fluids, including brake fluid, windshield washer fluid, and coolant for the battery and cooling systems. So guys, like, you're not as environmentally friendly as you think you are that drive around these electric cars and you play politics with your electric vehicles. People that did that over the last 4 years that pushed for that stuff, you're hypocrites. You're still driving around a vehicle that has oil in the car. You just never have to change it, but it's there. You know, like, come on, you can't 100% get away with it, you know, and avoid it. It's oil and gas is going to be here for many of years. We are nowhere near eradicating fossil fuels from this earth. Nowhere near. The rear differential and front differential fluid should be changed every 25,000 miles. So are you saying that for electric vehicles, or are you talking about a standard full drive, gas powered combustion engine? I knew that for a combustion engine. I knew that. That's obvious. But for an electric vehicle, I don't think you ever have to change it. It's a special type of oil that's sealed up and you'll never see it unless it leaks. I mean, how many electric vehicle drivers, especially Tesla drivers, have complained about oil leaks in their garage? You sit there like, what the fuck is this? Oh, sorry. What the fuck is this? Is that oil on my garage floor? Are you shitting me? I would love to see, that's happened, and it's obviously probably under warranty for some of these cars. If it did, I don't know. But I'd love to see the look on people's faces when they're like, is that oil on my garage floor? What is that? I didn't think I was driving a car with oil in it. I'd love to see those people's faces when they see that. That's classic right there. You would think that the people at the dealerships would educate the buyer and say, hey, what do you know about Teslas? Okay, well, let me explain it to you. Yes, your Tesla still has oil in it because it has to in order to keep the gearbox lubricated. So your car doesn't seize up going down the road. You can't get away from friction, okay? We have to protect it with oil. I'm sorry. How many of these environmentalists drive one of these newer electric vehicles thinking that there's no oil in it, and then the dealer at like a local Tesla dealership knew that person was never going to buy the car unless they were told there's no oil in it, but they didn't tell them and they just sold the car anyway. They're probably so pissed. How many times did that ever actually happen where they bought an electric vehicle and it started leaking some sort of fluid and you're like, what the hell is that? What is that? You know what I mean? That's probably happened. So I don't know. There's not a lot of people that drive electric cars. I guarantee you that's happened at least it's probably happened quite a bit, actually. And a lot of like, don't get me wrong, I'm a huge fan of Elon Musk. I think he's the most important person on the planet. I really do. And what he's doing with Tesla and Optimus and his companies and stuff is like next to nothing else that we've ever seen before, especially out of one person. But even he said that, you know, yeah, there would be, I'm just paraphrasing here, but he's pretty much saying like, yeah, I would love for everybody to drive an electric vehicle, a Tesla, but we're not there yet. We're just not there. You know, we're trying to get there. We're nowhere near. We're just not. And until the cost of an electric vehicle comes down in price, we're not going to get there anytime soon. And that's the problem with electric cars. You know, they're just expensive. They're super expensive. The batteries are expensive. It's like buying a brand new car practically, with the cost of what these batteries run if you have to replace them. And you do eventually have to replace them. I think it's like on average, I think it's like every 10 years or 12 years. If you keep the battery if you keep the car that long, nowadays people don't keep their vehicles more than just, you know, maybe 5 years on average. And then they get rid of it and get another car that's more expensive than the last one. And then their car payment's even more expensive than it was 6 years prior. Yeah. That's another never-ending cycle of car payments. I could talk about that all day long. It's I think car payments are the worst. That's like the worst. The worst thing in the world is a car payment. I can't think of anything more disastrous financially to any human being than a fucking car payment from GMC Financial. I mean, no disrespect to the GMC lovers out there. I like GMC. I like Ford. I like Chevy. I like Dodge. But I don't like car payments. I think they're the biggest waste of money on the planet. I think people that have car payments thinking that they're doing something by having a car payment. They're like, well, I need a car. Well, yeah, you need a car, but do you need an $800 a month car? How do you justify paying anything with an engine and four wheels every month for 5 years, sometimes 7 years, like 86 months at like $1,000 a month? Yeah, that happens. What's the national debt when it comes to car payments is through the roof. People have, I think it's like it's over $1 trillion. I think it's almost $1 trillion in car payments. Now I got to look it up. It's a national debt clock. Guys, this is some, I'm sorry to curse, but this is some really, really crazy shit here. Let me show you. What is this here? What is it? What is this? Okay. Yeah, close that. I don't know what the hell that was. Here's the national debt clock. Do you guys know what this is? Look at this. Everybody should come and visit this website like every so often. Look at the insanity. So you have our national debt. You guys can't see. If you're on the YouTube shorts, you can't see it. Some kind of emblem with the United States. What do you mean? Not sure I follow. Here we go. Let's see. son of a gun. I can't do. Wait, listen, if you guys are on the YouTube Shorts, you're not really going to be able to see it. If you want to support my channel, the YouTube channel, like the video, subscribe to the channel, give me a thumbs up, right? That goes a very long way. And if you do, I appreciate you guys. For those of you that have subscribed, you're the best. I appreciate you for supporting the channel. If you want to support me more, go to the horizontal stream. I'm streaming on YouTube horizontally as well, and that supports me in the long run. And if you want the full experience of the live stream, come watch me on the horizontal. The shorts are only designed, in my opinion, for discovery. Once you discover the channel through shorts and you enjoy the content, you subscribe and then come watch me on the horizontal side. It makes it easier to support me as a content creator. And if you do, you're pretty badass.
That's badass.
You're pretty badass. Okay, so I'm just going to kind of read this off to you. So you have the national debt clock. That's what we're looking at right now. And this is on behalf of usdebtclock.org. And the US national debt right now, you can't really see it, is $39 trillion and counting. I have never seen that debt clock go down. It ticks up regardless of who's in charge of this country. It ticks. We're in charge, obviously, the people, but who's single-handedly representing us as a people, as a country. I have never seen it go down. It's always went up, 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 and up. It never goes down. Per citizen debt, check this out. $113,000 average per citizen. $113,602 per debt taxpayer. $357,000. They even got another one, the tariff revenue. We have a tariff revenue right here. $352 billion in tariff revenue. That's on there. What else you got here? Where's the one for the right here, credit card? You see this? This is credit card payments. Or credit card, what people owe on what we owe as a nation, our nation is in credit card debt, and it's very concerning. That's $1.3 trillion in credit card debt. Then per household in America owes $8,266 in credit card debt right now per household. That's scary. That's just insane, man. That is insane. Where's the let's see, total compensation? No. The US debt? No. Debt per citizen. Revenue. Look at, there's so many different moving parts here. Federal interest. Everything in green is good. Everything in red is obviously bad. Look at our US debt held by $9 trillion. Holy cow. US debt, US trade deficit, $862 billion. What kind of index that you pay attention to the most? Some kind of emblem. Oh, I already read that. My apologies. What's the index that I pay attention to the most? Well, obviously the national debt, 39 trillion. And then I look at the debt per citizen, 113,000. And the next one is credit card debt. Credit card debt is probably single-handedly one of the most destructive, in my opinion, types of debt that you can have. All debt isn't good, it's bad, but credit card debt is probably one of the worst, if not the worst. The only debt that's not good for you is like a mortgage debt. Mortgage debt is good debt. That's like the only good debt is mortgage debt, because if you own a home, if you're lucky enough to own a home, then you're making more money, obviously, on that home because it's worth more than what you paid for, most likely. So it's good debt to have because that home has value. So if you paid $350,000 for a house 5 years ago and now it's worth $525,000, well, obviously it's got value. So, you know, if you had to sell it, you're going to make money on it. You can't sell a car for more than what you paid for. It loses value. Anything with four wheels and an engine has no value. It loses value. Anything with four wheels and an engine, or a boat, a jet ski, a four-wheeler, a dirt bike, a motor vehicle of any kind, you lose money. Period. End of discussion. So your $45,000, you know, Dodge Challenger SRT, that's probably at least 5 years old. You just got done paying the payments on it, and it ain't worth $45,000. It's only worth maybe 20. Maybe. You're in the hole. It might not even be worth that. You know, it might only be worth $25,000, and you paid $45,000 for it. And then after your car payment and the cost of the car and overall the time you paid for the car payment, you've probably already put in 60 grand into that car, and it's only worth 25. Where did you make money on this car? You lost money. You will always lose money. It's a never-ending battle of thinking that your car is worth something, but it ain't worth squat. It's not worth it. No car is ever worth what you paid for. Ever. I don't care what it is. I don't care if it's a Bugatti to a Ferrari or a Lamborghini. I'm right here. I like Lambos. I'm a Lamborghini fan. Always have been for a long time. I would love to have a Lamborghini someday, but I know that car. Let's just say you pay $250,000 for a Lamborghini and you keep it for 5 years and you want to sell it. You ain't selling it for $250,000. Depending upon the condition of the car or whatever else, yada, 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 miles, all this stuff, it might only be worth like $165,000. You're going to lose your ass every single time. Every single time. You're never going to make more. Ever. And everybody has the same excuse. Well, I need a car. Well, yeah, I know you need a car, but you don't need a $800 a month car. You know what I mean? Like, if you need a car to get back and forth to work, that's all you need it for, is to get back and forth to work. Dave Ramsey is a genius at this stuff. He's probably one of the best financial guys out there when it comes to getting out of debt and becoming wealthy. Like, he's him. Like, bro, he's the guy. And he has a saying, and I think it's one of the greatest sayings out there when it comes to how stupid people are with their money. And he always says that you're going to buy a car that you can't afford to impress somebody at a stoplight that you'll never meet. And nobody cares that you're driving around a $50,000, $60,000, $70,000 Hellcat or a Dodge Demon or a Lambo. Like, I don't care. I think the only people that care about stuff like that is because they've never had anything like that before. And they're just, I mean, don't get me wrong. I kind of get like that too with certain cars. But I mean, like, that's not the first thing that crosses my mind. The first thing that always crosses my mind is, what are your payments? How much are you paying for your car right now as we speak? What's the cost? What's that costing you every 30 days? And then at first, when you first purchase a vehicle, you're totally gung-ho about it. You think it's the greatest shit ever. You love it. Oh, the leather seats, the heated seats in the wintertime, the V8 engine, the new car smell, and the stereo, and all this other shit that you are falling in love with. Talk to me in about a year and let me know, after paying $600 a month for the next 12 months and you signed a 5-year deal to pay that car off in 5 to 6 years. Talk to me in a year and let me know if you still love that car, because I guarantee you, most people, not everybody, but most people will tell you, I hate this car. This car is the reason why I'm broke every month. I can't afford to do anything else because it's $700 a month car payment from GM Financial or Ford or whatever else, you know? So I don't know. I think the biggest flex, if you want to show somebody that you are a boss, is go into a dealership and write a check for the car or pay cash for it. Like, just throw down a duffel bag full of cash. Here you go. Or just come in there with a cashier's check. Here you go. What's the final cost out the door for this? I'll be right back. You go to the bank, you write a check, get a cashier's check for the cost, and just come in and hand it to them. And that's a flex right there, man. That is more appealing to me, knowing that I can come in there and hand over cash and buy this car outright, than it is for me to be in debt for the next 5 to 6 years to impress people that I don't like or I'll never meet. It's crazy where people's mindsets are at when it comes to stuff like that. And it's not just cars. I mean, that's just anything really that's flashy and shiny and people are attracted to it. You know, a jet ski, a four-wheeler, a dirt bike, you know, all that stuff, right? Everybody wants shit. I want a new car. I would love to have a new car. I just don't want a car payment. I hate car payments. When we had car payments, it was like, I hated it. I hated paying for that stupid. We had a Ford F-250 that had a 10-inch lift on it. Always wanted one for a long time. Finally got one, drove it for a little while, and I hated paying for it. And we sold the shit like a couple of years after we had it. We just got rid of it. I got tired of paying for that fucking truck. I was like, oh, I hate this truck. You know, the truck was fun, but you get tired of climbing in and out of it, and because it's a 10-inch lift and all this stuff. And you know, that time of your life where you're like, yeah, this is cool. When it's not really cool anymore, you're like, well, this is kind of stupid. Now that I've gotten one, this is dumb. I don't want no damn lifted truck. Now, I don't mind lifted trucks, but it can't be no damn 10-inch lifted truck. You know, like 4 or 5 inches at the most. At the most. But the maintenance on that truck was outrageous. New tires for that truck were like $2,500 at the time for a set of 4. And like, you know, anything that have to do with the suspension, God help me, if I needed to do anything to repair the suspension, was going to be an arm and a leg. It needed a new engine. Ford had to put a new engine in it, and that was under warranty, thank God. And I hated paying for that truck. I hated it. To fill the gas tank at the time was like $80. I hated it. Couldn't stand it. So anyway, I mean, when it comes down to it, car payments, no good. The only good debt is a mortgage, in my opinion. And then sometimes that's not always the case because people still end up owing more than what they paid for the house. They're upside down in their mortgage. And sometimes that does happen. So it's mortgage. Not all mortgage debt is good debt. You know, if the market is stable and it's doing well, your house is obviously worth more money. And if you're in a market where the housing market is poor, nobody's buying homes, everybody's holding on to their homes, nobody's selling, nobody's buying, then, you know, it causes the market to go down in value. Or you have more homes, less homes to buy. Like, what is it? Cost of the demand is low. Not a lot of people buying right now. Well, that causes the value of your home to go down a little bit. But if everybody's buying, people need homes, people want homes, it causes the market value to go up. I think Dave Ramsey talked about it once upon a time. He said during the 2008 crisis, when the markets went belly up there for a while, that's when everything was on sale. And if you were able to, you know, buy back into stocks and buy things in general that just lost market value because it tanked because of the 2008 market crash, and especially a mortgage, like home values like were really down at the time. If you were still able to afford to buy a home, that was a really good time to buy a house or just anything in general because everything was on sale, like, you know, half the price practically. So that was the best time to buy. But yeah, this is the national debt clock, guys. I just think this is really interesting. I think I think people should come visit this just to kind of get an idea of where our country is at right now in terms of our debt. Where's the hold on. I'll tell you another waste of money, and this might piss some people off, but I don't care because it's true. Is student loans. If you can afford to pay cash to go to school, pay cash for it. Don't ever borrow money from the government to go to school if you can help it. I know some people can't help it and they have to, but if you're in a position to where you can work and you can put yourself through college and work part-time and pay for college, and you're able to stay home, live at home while you put yourself through college and work, go to college full-time, work part-time, and pay for school that way, or just save up, work full-time for a few years and save up a whole bunch of cash and then pay cash for school. Do it that way. That's another that's another burden, financial burden on so many people's lives is student loan debt. And that is, I think that's like where is that? It's obviously one of these red ones here because it's the ones that are bad. It's like 1.3 or $1.4 trillion in student loan debt. State debt, budget per citizen, debt, national debt, debt clocks, time, federal budget deficit, interest on debt, national debt, total debt interest, credit card debt per holder, countries, U.S. debt, debt deficit, China, border countries. I could have swore it used to be on here. These numbers are making me sick. Let me look it up here. How much does America owe, or how much? I said that wrong. How much student loan debt is in the U.S.? Okay. Oh, I was way off. Oh shit. According to Google Gemini here, the United States total student loan debt in the United States is approximately $1.83 trillion as early as 2026. Over 42 million borrowers holding federal debt right now. Federal loans account for over 90% of this total. The average balance per borrower is over $39,500, making it the second largest form of household debt after mortgages. Well, mortgages is a better debt to have by far. $1.8 trillion student loan debt. That's disgusting. That's a lot of money. And if you can afford to pay cash for school, please pay cash for school, because it's like adopting a pet that doesn't die for at least 30 years. Because that debt is it's going to follow you for at least 30 years. Easy. If you don't pay it off immediately, it'll follow you for at least 20 to 30 years. 30 years, most likely for some people. And if you owe more than $40,000 in student loan debt, if you owe as much, some people, we watched a documentary one time. that Dave Ramsey put out. This guy went to dental school and he spent like 10 years in medical school to become a dentist. Like he went to college and then 4 years of, I think it was like 12 or 13 years after it's all said and done. And he ended up coming out of college, college and medical school, owing like $1 million in student loan debt. And he was a dentist. And I think if you go to school to be a dentist, that's like the highest amount of student loan debt out there are people going to school for dentistry. They're the ones that owe the most amount of money. And this guy owed $1 million, and he sat there and he could barely afford to get, like he wasn't getting by. Like this guy was broker than broke. He couldn't afford to do nothing. He owned his own practice, but he ended up paying all this money every month in student loan debt. It was like a six-figure. Was it? I don't even what the monthly payment was for that. I could have swore it was like. Oh God, it was like $40,000 a month, or it was insane. This guy had to pay back in student loan debt. It was absolutely insane. Anyway, he could barely afford to pay it. He thought he had to go file bankruptcy. Mind you, as far as I know, and again, I'm not a financial guru. I've been around the block a time or two, and I know a little bit of something when it comes to finances. I don't think, and I still think to this day, that you cannot. Student loan debt is not bankruptable. Federal student loan debt is not bankruptable, which means you owe that money either until it's paid for in full or you die. So that to me is insane. And people borrow money like it's going out of style to go to school, man. And then when they find out that they can't afford to make the payments, which is insane to me. Because especially if you're a kid, your parents failed you and should have educated you on what this would do to you financially. And they should have told you, no, you're not doing that. You're not borrowing money to go to college. You're going to pay cash for it. And then they turn around and borrow this money anyway. And then they're like, I can't afford to do anything. I can't afford to eat. I can't afford my own place. I could barely afford my cell phone every month, and then they owe all this money in student loan debt. And it's really sad too, because these kids come out of college thinking that they wanted to go to college for something, and they end up, there's a study on that too. Most people that go to college graduate in the field that they graduated in, and then they don't go work in that field of the degree that they graduated in, or they went to school for. They end up doing something completely different. Like they might go to school for I don't know, like maybe you went to school to be an architect and you graduate college with a degree in architecture, and then you end up being an accountant or something, or you end up being, something you're not what you went to school for. Like there's a lot of people that do that. They end up going to college for something thinking that that's what I want to do. And they graduate college and they end up working at Starbucks. No, like nothing against people that work at Starbucks. But if I went to school to be a veterinarian and I graduate and I'm not a veterinarian, I'm doing something completely different. Well, that was a waste of time. Or you went to school for nursing and then you graduate and you got the smarts to be a nurse. And you end up becoming like a manager someplace else doing something completely different. That's not in your field of study. That happens a lot. And that's unfortunate. I think it was like, I don't know what it was. It was like 20-30% or something crazy. It was insane of the amount of people that graduate college and they never graduate and go work in that field that they graduated in. They end up doing something completely different. You know what I mean? And that whole saying now, especially like when I was a kid, people used to say, you're going to be working at McDonald's for the rest of your life flipping burgers. You ever heard of that terminology? You're going to be flipping burgers the rest of your life at McDonald's. And way back when, people were like, oh God, oh no. Nowadays, you know, you could become a multimillionaire flipping burgers at your local McDonald's. You can sit there and learn how to operate a local McDonald's franchise by working the grill or flipping burgers at wherever. And you learn that side of the business, and you learn how to manage a business, and you open your own restaurant. And now you open one restaurant that's successful. You open another one and another one and another one. Like, hey, flipping burgers made me a multimillionaire. Not bad. Nowadays, that would be considered probably some pretty good advice. You might learn something about the business. And especially if it's like a McDonald's franchise, shit. You could, oh man. If you can afford to swing a McDonald's franchise and learn how the McDonald's franchise business works, and you could be very successful in that. I think Todd Graves, the CEO of Raising Cane's, shout out Raising Cane's. I mean, I don't know how many of you guys in the chat love Raising Cane's, but we're fans. Just throwing it out there. Todd Graves' wife, is he even still married? Yeah, Todd Graves' wife. I think. Oh, they are. Okay. Oh wait, is he still married? Personal life. 2000. Graves married at McDonald's. Yep. Okay, so check this out. Todd Graves is the CEO of Raising Cane's. We love Raising Cane's. In 2000, Todd Graves married Gwen Drain, a McDonald's franchisee who he had known since high school. They have two daughters, reside in Baton Rouge, Louisiana, because I think that's where their headquarters for the Raising Cane's. That's where he got started. And she owned McDonald's franchises. I think she owned. Let's see. So before the success of Raising Cane's, Gwen Drain at the time, her last name was Drain. Gwen was a McDonald's franchisee, which gave her significant industry experience. As far as support for Raising Cane's, she played a role in early stages of the company and continues to be involved in the brand's community outreach, including visiting hospitals with their therapy dog, Raising Cane II. So she used to own a McDonald's franchise. She owned several of them. I think she owned 10. How many does she own? How many McDonald's? You see how I can go on different topics like at the snap of the finger, guys. I mean, I can go from talking about the price of high gas prices to Raising Cane's chicken fingers like that. How many McDonald's franchises did Diane Grave own? Oh wait, did I spell that right? Hold on. Todd Graves. Based on the available information, there is no specific number provided for how many McDonald's franchises Todd Graves' wife's Gwen Drain Graves owned. She is identified as a McDonald's franchisee whom he married in 2000. I could have swore we saw a documentary on Todd Graves about her when they were right before they got married. I think she was already a multimillionaire because she owned a bunch of McDonald's franchises. I don't know how many. I could have swore it was like 10 that she owned or something like that. I think she owned like 10. I can't remember. But she was already successful working at McDonald's. So like for some, that terminology doesn't exist anymore. There's so many people out there that can work in the fast food industry and become very successful and very wealthy very fast. So, but ladies and gentlemen, I know I got way off topic here, but I only planned on streaming for about an hour. We're actually an hour and 40 minutes in today. It's been a few weeks since we've been back. So I just wanted to go live here tonight and just kind of talk about the craziness in Iran. And I do hope, for the sake of high gas prices and the sake of just gas prices in general, I do hope they come down sooner rather than later. Donald Trump better hope that he wraps this shit up by the end of next month at the latest. I'm talking like at the absolute latest is pushed out for whatever reason. April is your deadline. You have to wrap this up, because if this continues past April and it goes into spring and summer, it's not going to look good for him, and especially for the midterms, and people will vote the other way just because that's just what happens. People vote the other way when shit doesn't go the way they want it to. They think a Democrat's going to come in and fix their lives and make things better, and that's never the case. Never. Things do. I'll give Joe Biden one piece of credit. Other than liking waffle cones, which I love waffle cones. That's like one of my guilty pleasures. Love ice cream, and I love vanilla waffle cones. Love it. He loved waffle cones too. I guess that's something I could relate to with his, things that he did good as president. Yeah, you ate waffle cones. Hey, I like waffle cones. The stock market stayed stable. I'll give him that. And job growth stayed steady. There were some things with the job, reporting that was not accurate. That's a whole nother thing. But the stock market stayed. It was still a roller coaster, but it went like this. It went up, and when Trump's over there in Iran right now, it was like up here, and then it just kind of like this right now. It will go back up, but I hope that he's got a plan to get the hell out of there, like day before yesterday, so gas prices can come down and we can get back to normal and we can forget about this. But I am for making the world a better place, a safer place, and nobody's going to disagree with that. And if you do, I think you should read your Bible if you have one. If you don't have one, Amazon's got some pretty good deals on Bibles. Go buy yourself one. Read the Gospels. Start in the Gospels. Read the Gospels of Jesus Christ. And then once you read the Gospels of Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John, then I encourage you to go read Old Testament and then kind of go from there. Start in the New Testament in the Gospels, read the New Testament, and then go back and read Old Testament once you're done. But I really feel you should read your Bible, and that goes for everybody. Read your Bible, guys. It's fantastic. It's a great thing. It's wonderful. It's marvelous. It puts a smile on your face, and it gives you hope. It gives you hope. So read your Bible, guys. Definitely read your Bible. And I just pray that this, I hope this conflict is over for, much sooner rather than later, so we can get back to a stable economy with lower gas prices, and things aren't looking so doom and gloom right now. And I have confidence in this president and this administration that things will come back to normal, hopefully sooner rather than later. And if it doesn't, well, it's not looking too good for Donald Trump. Democrats are trying to figure out every which way to impeach this guy. And if they win the midterms, they're going to push it through. He may not serve a full 4 years, ladies and gentlemen. Let's just say that. He may not. He may or he may not. It's just all going to depend on this November. All right, guys. I'm out of here. You guys have a great rest of your night. For those of you that support me, you know exactly who you are. I appreciate you. If you haven't already, like the video, subscribe to the channel, turn on all those notifications so you don't miss any time I go live or an upload a video. And until next time, we shall see all of you guys on the next live stream. Peace out, guys. We'll catch you later.